Hello there, back again with the second lesson of lesson 2.2. So, continuing on the Gaddis, starting off with Java, lesson 2.2, the print and println methods, and the Java API. As I mentioned, I wanted to decompose this lesson into sub-lessons because I felt that there needed to be deeper explanation on the Java API and objects and methods. So in the last lesson we covered objects and methods. In this lesson we're going to be covering the Java API versus API, what that means. And I'd like to first start off with what the Java API is. Now API, first off, what does API stand for? That's the Applications Programmer's Interface. Now somebody starting off with coding, writing Java, this is meaningless and pointless, really. This term, Application Programmer's Interface. So the Java API is actually the standard Java class library. That's what it is. The Java API is that thing you install. When you're installing the Java development kit. You remember when you're installing the Java JDK and you're getting an install prompt? Well, you're installing packets in the back end, and the Java standard Java class library is an assortment of all these packets that get installed upon installation of your Java runtime environment. Now, this is the documentation, I guess you could call it the specifications for the standard edition 8 version of the standard Java classes that get installed. And you got an assortment of, right here, you see all classes, all standard classes, better said. So this is everything that gets installed. So let's look for system, because as you've seen in the print and println method, we have system .out.print. So let's look for system. And there it is, system. It's, as I mentioned, it's part of the Java language. So by default, these are the java.lang. These are critical components that are essential to running the Java language, and for that reason they're made accessible by default. You don't need to install or import any further packets. You don't need to import any packets, better said. So let's see if we have our print. Okay, we have out. Look at this. Out, the out object within system object. Then we have the method that we've been working with, println. Now, this is the Java API. Again, Java API, when someone says Java API, they're referring to the standard Java class library. Here it is. Standard Java class library. Standard classes are right here. And that's it. However, the usage of the term API has become so liberal, it's kind of challenging to understand what the heck somebody means when they say API. Because there's other APIs that have been built external to the Oracle Sun Microsystems standard class library. And let's just look at some external ones. These are some that I found, and I'll open both of them up. So one of them, okay, so this is, I guess you could say, like a blog of somebody talking about the type of widely used Java APIs. Better said, class libraries. These are not standard class libraries. These are external ones, external projects that someone has built for some purpose. So, for example, let's just look at this one. I don't want to look at core. I want to look at let's look at something. Okay, here we go. This is actually more in my territory. Statistic analysis. Eclipse, a library from IBM which can manipulate Java source code. So this is a library that is specifically meant to manipulate stuff that you already have in the standard Java class library and utilize it for further purposes in statistical computing. Now, There's another one that I really liked down over here, which is database stuff. So if you want to write programs that interface fluidly with databases, so you have other class libraries that are not part of the Oracle project, Java project, so they're not standard. Somebody else externally to that project has built them. And you have these that you can utilize to make objects and have those objects manipulate databases. Then you have another. This I've never even heard of this, but apparently this is widely used. Although you have a date, time classes in your standard Java class library, apparently this one's better. And then another one that jumped out at me. For those financial people, you have this API, which is made available, API suite for foreign exchange trading. So where is the, okay, here we go. Java-based applications based on the Java SDK, Standard Development Kit. Software Development Kit, and it is this Java class library is not the standard one. This is specifically by this organization, this ONDA. They have written their own classes specifically for financial foreign exchange platforms, and so that's the extent of it. When somebody refers to API, they're referring to a class library. And I think that in going forward, I think I'll refer to things as class libraries as opposed to API. I kind of don't like the term API because it doesn't really communicate that much to somebody that's a beginner or somebody that's been in the game for a while. So when you speak to an older developer, if you say API, they'll understand what you mean. But typically, they'll refer to a Java class library. A class library, okay, I know what you mean. API, it can be just very ambiguous. Which API are you referring to? So class library from that going forward. Your standard class library, and these are project-based specific class libraries that are utilized for different purposes. So the book says API, but I'm going to call it class libraries. Either your standard Java class library, right here, or specific class libraries that are pertinent to a specific project that is external to Oracle. And that is it. Thank you very much. Bye bye.